miss me?
M3GAN 2.0. This was a movie I was so highly anticipated to actually see, especially after watching the first M3GAN, which I saw 5 times in the theater, and I couldn't stop this non-stop. I even got the actual M3GAN doll for my 35th birthday, and there's a whole lot of merchandise I actually have been grabbing, especially the Funko Pop of M3GAN. But when I heard that M3GAN 2.0 was actually coming out, I was super hyped about it. Because I was hearing so much good things about M3GAN having a redemption arc, and there was a new AI robot was actually going to plan to take over the world by using the AI programs. Whatever. But some of the results and receptions came out a bit negative from critics, especially for those who act like an Ebert and Robert wannabe. But at least the people actually enjoyed this movie, and I can actually see why. And I do have pros and cons about this movie, especially what I did with the first one. At this point, I'm actually going to be going into spoilers, so if you don't want to hear about them in case you have not seen the movie, then watch the first M3GAN, and then watch the second M3GAN in theaters if you get the chance to do so. You have been warned. So 2 years later, after the event of M3GAN going on a bit of a rampage, some company decided to actually send in another android named Amelia, but it turns out she went off the grid and started murdering so much innocent people. Gemma gets blamed for it, Katie is still living with her, and the fact that the only way that they could stop Amelia from coming after these two is by rebooting M3GAN and actually rebuilding her and giving her a different kind of body. You get some good violence, you get some good kick-ass comedy, which sometimes actually falls flat. And there's some great deliveries with M3GAN, who I'll talk about in a moment. So what is it about M3GAN 2.0 that seems like it actually failed so much when it was at the box office? Well, one thing for sure. So many people were upset that somehow this sequel was actually like a sci-fi action bag instead of an actual horror theme. Well, I really don't see so much the problem with that, because the second one is like acknowledging what the first one was meant to be when it wasn't trying to be something. I mean, so to speak, I didn't see the first M3GAN movie as an actual horror feature film because it didn't seem like it was a scary movie, like it wasn't even meant to be a scary movie. But in the second one, it actually picks up about what the first M3GAN was trying to be and what it was meant to be instead of what it wanted to be. And I'm pretty much okay with that, what they had to switch around. I saw this movie 3 times in the theaters and it didn't disappoint me very much either. But there were some jokes that doesn't exactly need to be in where they were, because it felt like some of the jokes were actually forced into this movie. Like they could have cut some things out and they could have cut some scenes out and could have actually replaced it with an actual different scene. So this is when Gemma, M3GAN, and the others went to go try to find Amelia at the Comic-Con place where they could find so much of Gemma's love interest, Christian. But there was one scene that they could have added into this one that could have got M3GAN about how the way M3GAN would have got inside. And it happened so it was actually in the trailer when they missed the opportunity to actually add that in there. And that flight scene where M3GAN takes off like gliding down to the actual building, that could have actually been cut short and that would never be needed at all. The movie may feel like it's a Terminator 2 kind of movie, but at least it tried something different and not try to plagiarism some of that plot. Even if the first one actually did do some of that, but you know what? You can't help but love the movie, especially if you love the character M3GAN herself. And as for the characters, I really like how so much the actors actually reprised their roles from the first one and decided to do them again in this one. With Gemma, in the first M3GAN movie, she was kind of a lazy woman where she doesn't even water her own plants, doesn't even cook, or doesn't even order or takeout food. Heck, she's most focused on her work that she kind of misses the point of parenting. In this one, Gemma's attitude toward technology and AI takes a complete turnaround, and she does become more wary and dangerous of the technology after being killed by M3GAN. And as much as I can't stand this character so much, I do actually see that she actually can be a good character in part of the movie. Because in part of the movie, she believes technology can actually be used to be better humanity, and she has become more or less enthusiastic about AI. And she does take responsibility of her own guilt in the involvement of M3GAN's killing spree. And as weird as she was in Peter Pan life, I believe Allison Williams actually did it really good in this one, especially with Violet McGrew. Speaking of, Katie, on the other hand, in the first one, she was kind of low self-esteem, self-loathing brat that was pretty much attached to Gemma's creation. But in this one, they turned her into an angsty, sour, rebellious teenager. And she does have a bit of interest in robotic engineering when she was inspired by her Aunt Gemma. And does have a bit of a martial arts kind of style that she actually uses in this movie. and often becomes more independent than relying on Gemma's overprotective rules. And she really does believe that there's actually good in M3GAN, that she actually agrees to actually help them out to stop Amelia. As for Tess and Cole, they're more of the actual side characters that actually help Gemma and Katie along the way to help defeat Amelia while rebuilding M3GAN and giving her a different kind of upgrade. There's also a newer character in this movie whose intentions are, well, let's just say he was in control of Amelia the whole entire time throughout the entire movie. And speaking about the antagonist, initially, we don't even get to know who actually made Amelia. In fact, the entire beginning of the movie actually starts with her killing so many assassins near Turkish-Iranic border. She was supposed to rescue a doctor until she initially, on her own emotionless free will, killed him. But in a way, Amelia was meant to be like a super weapon, but ended up becoming uncontrollable to the point where she found a new purpose to actually eliminate all humanity by taking over the AI. Some may say that there's really not much about her. She's just an android who wants to kill humans. Then again, that's what makes Amelia so menacing. For most of the picture, most of the characters build her up like a serious threat that should be avoided at all times. Especially when she's coming to show up to kill Gemma and Katie, and always tries to egg M3GAN to actually join forces of her wiping out all humanity. And her performance was so greatly done by, forgive me if I cannot pronounce her last name, but her first name is Ivana. And she played the character throughout most of the movie without even using any robotic or CGI on her. Maybe there might be a little bit of CGI, but honestly, this one actually has a real face, unlike the actual Model 3 generator herself, who's got like a silicone robotic look, which you'll really easily notice once you watch this movie or actually seen the movie. Of course, I can't leave this section without mentioning my favorite character throughout the movie, especially when I loved her in the first one, the Model 3 generated android herself, M3GAN.
Here's a clue. It's M3GAN, bitch.
M3GAN is back and actually eggs Gemma on to actually rebuild her another body that she can actually help save them from Amelia's wrath. And I quite understand what she was going through, especially in the first one, and what she wants to do to actually kind of help them out, which does feel like so much of a bit of a redemption arc. And you know what? This is exactly the moment I have been waiting for, to see M3GAN actually become the good guy instead of seeing her as a villain like I never saw her in the first one. And as I mentioned before, in the first one, she didn't seem like she was an actual villain, or didn't seem like she would be the right kind of villain for a film like this, because the second one actually acknowledges that and actually changed her redemption arc. And as much as she wants to actually protect Katie, which was her primary goal to actually do, she actually wants to help Gemma. That it's not just for her, that it's just for Katie. Even when she regret what she actually did in the first place, it could never replace the feeling of her being loved. In 2.0, she becomes more sassy and more benevolent, and she has some of the funniest lines in this movie. And I give so much credit to Jenna Davis for giving her such a sassy and great cute performance to make her feel more teenage-like. And of course, Amy Donald was actually brought back to actually do the body of M3GAN. She almost rejected the role so much, but there is a bit of a dance scene that she actually does at a Comic-Con convention. And also, M3GAN does only sing one time in this movie, and I find it so cute that I almost cry to it.
All the things we should have done, no, we never did. All the things I should have given, but I didn't. Oh, darling, make it glow.
And I really love the fact that she turned into a good guy in the very end. And in the very end, there is a bit of a 2D animation on her, which actually kind of looks cute on her. After defeating Amelia, any people may not like the changes of this movie, but I certainly did. Although I'm unsure if they're actually going to do a third M3GAN movie. And the whole thing would be just like a trilogy, because honestly, I believe M3GAN can actually go up to 3 movies. And I'm real grateful that they changed M3GAN's outfit, and she is a bit more taller, because as you know, Amy Donald is kind of growing older. So it kind of makes sense for these changes to happen. Much the characters in the movie may have changed, as much as the tone of the movie may have changed, but it's still good. Oh yeah. It still has a good upgrade to it, and people need to get used to changes. While this movie may not be as perfect as how the first one actually turned out to, But I'm glad they actually changed the genre onto this one, because the first one, it didn't feel like it was a horror movie like it was meant to be a horror movie, when something in the sequel is actually making that up. And I enjoyed so much part of the movie as everybody else would, especially if you enjoyed the character M3GAN herself. The jokes may fall flat and some of the action needed to die down a bit, although there are a few scenes that do feel a bit abrupt that could have actually been filled in for what we saw in the actual trailer of the movie. It may be a disappointment at the box office, but it didn't disappoint me very much. Especially when we got her dancing, singing, and showing so much heart that she actually cares for her owner. M3GAN 2.0 is a highly recommendation for you to see, especially if you want something that's a little more action and less horror. I'm telling you, not everything needs to be a scary movie, especially when you look at the bigger picture of it. But a great intimidating villain and a lot of twists and turns, and some laughs you may either get from M3GAN or Katie herself, and I couldn't be any more happier that they actually give this a 4 out of 5 stars. All those Robert and Ebert wannabe critics can actually hate so many movies as they like, but you can't help to prove that they're actually wrong about some things, that they don't see what you see, or at least what I see. The movie may have changed its tone, but at least I love it. I love changes, and I'm really getting used to the movie, of what it is and what the first one was meant to be. Well, that's all much I can say about M3GAN 2.0, because I enjoyed M3GAN in the first one, and I really enjoyed her in this one. And the fact of the matter is, they tried. That's the best I can put it. These people tried.
Hold on to your vagina.